Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. This week's article is A Wonderful Sympathy and Freemasonry, New Masonic Insight on the Sherlock Holmes Tale, A Scandal in Bohemia, by Brother Mark Dreisenstock, 33rd degree, and comes from the November-December 2024 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. A Scandal in Bohemia is the first of 56 short stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, featuring the great detective Sherlock Holmes and his friend, Dr. John Watson. While this famous story has been dramatized many times, the tale contains a Masonic reference that is often omitted from dramatic adaptations, where Holmes mentions to Watson of a sympathy and Freemasonry among horsey men. Here we will investigate what Holmes means when he makes this statement, as well as examine a recent and excellent audio production that includes this cryptic reference. If you're a Master Mason, check out the Master Craftsman Online College, the premier education platform from the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Southern Jurisdiction. From Craft Lodge to Scottish Rite philosophy, visit www.mastercraftsmancollege.org for complete info and use promo code SRJ2024. That's SRJ2024 for 20% off any course. In the story, the King of Bohemia seeks Holmes' help to reclaim a photograph that portends scandal from one Eileen Adler, a retired American opera singer now resident of London. Miss Adler proves to be a match for Holmes in both wit and intrigue. Yet A Scandal in Bohemia is significant not only for its literary merits, but also for being one of 5 Sherlock Holmes works by Brother Arthur Conan Doyle, who was in fact a Freemason, to include clear Masonic references. This Masonic moment in the tale has attracted the attention of illustrious S. Brent Morris, 33rd degree, Grand Cross, Masonic writer, former editor of this magazine, and Sherlock Holmes enthusiast. In his paper, The Mystery of Freemasonry Among Horsey Men, presented in February 2024 to the semi-annual meeting of the Sons of Copper Beeches of Philadelphia, a Baker Street irregular scion society, Dr. Morris summarizes the Masonic reference thus. Watson asks Holmes about his surveillance of the habits and perhaps the house of Miss Irene Adler. Holmes replies that he left 221B this morning in the character of a groom out of work. He then explains the character he assumed. There is a wonderful sympathy and Freemasonry among horsey men. Be one of them, and you will know all that there is to know. At first glance, illustrious Morris notes, this Masonic reference would imply there is a natural understanding and affinity among the profession of grooms. Yet, during his research, Dr. Morris found that the reference could have a different meaning. Holmes did not mean a natural fellowship based on some common experience, but rather the horseman's word, the Scottish trade organization which mimicked the structure of Freemasonry with initiation formalities, handshakes, and their own word. No doubt Holmes had learned the handshake and word, which helped pass himself as a genuine horseman when he mingled with the grooms to gain intelligence about Irene Adler. Dr. Morris thus reveals to us a paramasonic subculture that existed in Holmes and Doyle's day. We now turn to A Scandal in Bohemia audio adaptations, a medium through which many encounter the story for the first time. Often, the horsey men Masonic reference is dropped from audio productions, but in a 1945 radio version featuring film actor Basil Rathbone, who in his generation was the cinematic embodiment of Sherlock Holmes. The reference is likewise absent in the mid-1950s BBC radio adaptation starring the legendary actor Sir John Gielgud as the legendary crime specialist. The Kraft reference is also not present in the 1977 adaptation of A Scandal in Bohemia by the CBS Radio Mystery Theater. Such an omission is not the case, however, in Carrie McGee's excellent new audio adaptation for the literary Adventure Society. Interestingly, this presentation loyally retains Holmes' Masonic comments, while allowing other significant modifications to make the story more enthralling to modern audiences. For example, unlike the original story, in which the detective and Miss Adler correspond with each other only in disguise and through a written communication, the two in this production have a highly engaging meeting and conversation face to face. Intriguing speculations as to Miss Adler's backstory are also included in the new dramatic performance. There is also an interesting play on the word Bohemian in this version. The king of Bohemia is Bohemian, of course, as that is his native country, yet Miss Adler is likewise described as Bohemian, but in reference to her unconventional character and perhaps her profession as a star on the operatic stage. This second definition of Bohemian is not present in the original tale. Further interesting discrepancies between the Conan Doyle text and the recent audio adaptation await the listener. It is indeed fortuitous that Dr. Morris's new interpretation of a Masonic reference in A Scandal in Bohemia has appeared at the same time as a fresh, innovative reimagining of the story, all of which might be termed a wonderful sympathy of Freemasonry among aficionados of Sherlock Holmes and enthusiasts of the royal art. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 33rd degree, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.